3 days in eternity, the journey of the Savior. Prologue, the moment of sacrifice. The sun began to set over Jerusalem, casting long shadows across the blood-stained hill of Golgotha. The wind howled mournfully, as if lamenting the suffering of the one who hung upon the cross. His body, bruised and battered, bore the weight of humanity's sins. The crowd had grown silent, their voices lost in the gravity of the moment. Then, with a final breath, he spoke. "It is finished." The earth trembled. The temple curtain was torn in two. The sky darkened, as if creation itself grieved the death of its creator. Those who had mocked him now stood in fear. The Roman centurion, who had witnessed countless deaths, looked upon him and whispered, "Truly, this was the Son of God." His body was taken down by Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus, wrapped in linen, and placed in a tomb carved from stone. A great rock was rolled in front of the entrance. Roman soldiers stood guard, ensuring that no one could tamper with the grave. The world thought it was over. But beneath the surface, beyond the veil of human perception, a battle was about to unfold. Day 1, the descent into darkness. As his lifeless body lay in the tomb, Jesus' spirit descended into a realm unknown to the living. The gates of the underworld loomed before him, a place where lost souls were bound by the weight of their sins. It was a realm of silence, where the echoes of despair whispered through the shadows. The spirits of the dead stirred at his arrival. They had been waiting for ages, their eyes filled with a longing that had never faded. Some recognized him immediately, the promised Messiah, the one foretold in the scriptures. But the darkness did not welcome him. A great voice, deep and resonant, rose from the abyss. "You do not belong here." The fallen spirits, bound in chains of their own making, cowered at his presence. Demonic forces, once proud and rebellious, recoiled in terror. "Death cannot hold me," Jesus declared, his voice shattering the silence. "I have come to set the captives free." Chains broke. Shackles crumbled. Light, radiant and pure, burst forth from him, cutting through the oppressive gloom. The realm of the dead, long accustomed to suffering, had never seen such brilliance. And then, the spirits of the righteous, those who had died in faith before his coming, stepped forward. Abraham, Moses, David, and the prophets stood before him, their faces alight with hope. "The time has come," he said. "Come, and I will lead you home." The gates of the underworld trembled. The enemy raged, but he could do nothing. The Son of God had arrived, and he would not leave empty-handed. Day 2, the clash of kingdoms. Meanwhile, in the world of the living, despair clung to Jesus' followers like a heavy fog. The disciples hid in fear, afraid that they would be next. The women who had followed him wept, their hearts shattered. The world seemed darker than ever before. But in the spiritual realm, a great confrontation was unfolding. The forces of darkness, the very ones who had sought to overthrow the divine order, now stood face to face with their greatest fear. The Prince of Darkness, once so confident in his rebellion, felt his dominion slipping away. "You cannot take them," the adversary roared. Jesus met his gaze, unwavering. "They were never yours to keep." With those words, he extended his hand. The spirits of the righteous clung to him, and one by one, they were lifted from the depths of the abyss. A procession of redeemed souls followed the Savior, their chains left behind, their faces radiant with the promise of new life. The enemy shrieked in fury, but he was powerless. The debt of sin had been paid in full. The gates of Hades, once thought to be impenetrable, were now broken wide open. And as the second day drew to a close, a shift occurred in the heavens. The dawn of something new was about to break. Day 3, the dawn of victory. the first rays of sunlight touched the earth. The garden outside the tomb remained quiet, save for the distant chirping of birds awakening to a new day. The Roman guards stood watch, oblivious to the divine power about to be unleashed. Then, the earth quaked. The massive stone covering the tomb began to tremble. A celestial brilliance filled the air, growing brighter and brighter. And then, the stone was rolled away. The guards fell to the ground in terror, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. Inside the tomb, the lifeless body of Jesus stirred. His fingers moved. His eyes opened. Breath filled his lungs once more. Death had lost its grip. He sat up, the burial cloth slipping from his form. Then, with quiet strength, he stood. The resurrected king had risen. Moments later, Mary Magdalene approached the tomb, her heart heavy with grief. She found the stone rolled away and the tomb empty. Panic gripped her. Had someone taken his body? Then, a voice soft yet powerful called out to her. Mary. She turned. Before her stood Jesus, alive, glorious, victorious. Her sorrow turned to astonishment, then to joy. Falling to her knees, she cried out, Rabboni, Teacher. Jesus smiled. Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to my Father. But go, tell my brothers that I am alive. And so, she ran. The news of the resurrection would spread like wildfire, changing the course of history forever. Epilogue, the call to believe. The world had witnessed a miracle beyond comprehension. The tomb was empty. The risen Christ appeared to his disciples, to the doubters, to the broken-hearted. He walked among them, ate with them, and spoke words of peace. He had conquered death. And in doing so, he had opened the door for all who would believe in him. I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live, even though they die. His victory was not just for those who had seen him with their own eyes, it was for all generations to come. And now, the question remains, do you believe? If you do, let your heart be filled with hope. No darkness can withstand his light. No sin is beyond his grace. No death can separate you from his love. He is risen. He is alive. And he calls you by name. If this story has touched your heart, share it with others. Spread the light of the risen King.